really enjoying getting out and meeting the people.
Very good.
My call today, I read an article this morning by Keith Goss in the Telegram where Joel Prim and Duke Collins were asking for a new vision for Marine Atlantic. And, I'm looking at some numbers here, and we're seeing a drop in the traffic, almost down 22% in the past 5 years. Now, I had been in business prior to this job for almost 40 years. And if I had that kind of drop in my business, I would certainly be looking at where have I gone wrong, what can I do different, and certainly talking with my staff and users to see where I could, improve to, bring that business back up. And obviously the Marine Atlantic traffic is really affecting the tourism here on the West Coast significantly. It is the most people that we get on the West Coast. They're the people that use the Marine Atlantic ferry service. So, the business is certainly down on the West Coast. And I think what we've got to really start to ask here is what is the present government doing to reverse this trend? We're making an awful lot of trips to Ottawa these days, particularly on CETA, have they taken time to sit down with the transportation people in Ottawa to say, look, what are we planning on doing with these numbers? I mean, they keep increasing the cost each year for the traveler on the boat, and we really haven't looked at where we should be going with this, and maybe, as I referenced the article this morning, that maybe there were some good points there that we should be looking at, because marine transportation affects every aspect of the life in this province. I mean, we are an island, at least part of the province is, and certainly, the tourism industry is going to be hit the hardest. The cost of food on our table is associated with that. Our ability to produce here, some years back I was looking at doing a manufacturing plant here to produce some products for an international company, and to operate here even in Port-aux-Basques right next to the ferry would have cost me something like $2.5 million more a year to produce $15 million worth of product. So we are, really, I think, at a stage now where I believe that we're pricing ourselves out of the marketplace for marine transport.
So what needs to be done? The federal government has to change its mind on how they view Marine Atlantic and how the charges are set? Or, I mean, if they don't get a whole lot more response on transportation than they've been getting on CETA, then I don't know what the point is in spending a whole lot more time on it. I know we just can't give up and throw up our hands, but do you really think that they have a lot of option or ability to get concessions and changes from the federal government? Well,
I was always taught that if you didn't try, you wouldn't know.
Fair enough,
and my question is, what have been done? What have the province been done? And from an industry perspective, and I've been speaking, having been involved in this industry for 40 years, I've been talking to people now in the industry, and there is no provincial strategy either helping Transport Canada to deal with these issues. And I think that's, of grave concern, because we have operators now that are planning for the upcoming season. And I mean, we're going to see in April another price increase in the tickets going across the Gulf. And that, is, to me, is very worrisome, because at what point, are people going to say, hold on, I can't afford to take my family on the boat. And certainly if you're traveling with a family, you can't afford to fly in here. So I believe that, we really are pricing ourselves, out of the marketplace. And, I think that the provincial government has a responsibility to sit down with Transport Canada to discuss, another vision or a new vision for the ferry service to this province. And, I mean, what we've done, basically chartered European vessels, which are not necessarily great for the weather and the ports that we have here in this province. So, there are lots to be done, but if we don't open up that dialogue, how are we ever going to know what can be done?
Right. Well, okay, very good points, and it was interesting to see that article in the paper before, for sure. And a lot of people have said, before and continue to that. The ferry is a very sore point. It's something, obviously, that we came into Confederation assuming it was going to be a guaranteed and it wasn't going to be prohibitive. Hasn't gone that way. You hear over and over again how it's our Trans-Canada Highway and everybody else gets theirs covered and looked after. But I tell you, until we get a whole different mindset in Ottawa, it's not going to be easy.
Well, we had a vision for tourism in this province. It was Vision 2020.
Yep.
And that was to double the value of tourism by 2020 to $2 billion. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, if we don't start that negotiations and these discussions with Ottawa, I mean, we are basically held ransom. And Ottawa does have a responsibility to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador to provide us with, a transportation system that people can afford. And I mean, it's not only the tourism industry, it's the trucking industry that suffers here. You and I are paying for it every time we go to the grocery store, delayed trucks on the dock. So, it is a key part of the economy of this province. And I mean, if we don't open up that negotiation, where do we start?
All right, sir. Fair enough. Thanks very much for the call. Look forward to another one, and keep us updated on anything that's happening in your district. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Pete, and have a good week.
You too. Thanks again.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.